Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at another very spicy Pokemon for the Open Master League, and you see already why that is the case. We're going to have here the shiny Tapu Koko, which is going to be the hardest answer for Lugia in this current meta. This Pokemon will be able to double resist the fast move as well as resist all the charge moves here as well. Aeroblast not going to do, okay, it did some damage to be fair, but still going to allow us to just farm them all the way down here and get all this matchup with a ton of energy. Tapu Koko itself gets, I think, one of the lowest CP in general from those Tapus. I guess Tapu Fini as well, I guess, is a little bit lower than Tapu Koko, but the typing itself is just so nice for this Pokemon. Honestly, the typing is so amazing. As you're going to have here a first game which you're going to let the opponent forfeit thereafter they try to use their Say-Sob of Lugia, which is a very common Say-Sob right now. Lugia is pretty much everywhere, so like having this Pokemon as a perfect answer for it is so much fun. Honestly, I had so much fun playing this Pokemon here. And it actually went pretty well as well. We went 2-3 for the first one, which is of course a little bit bad. But then I went 3-2, 3-2, and 4-1 in my final one as well. So like I had a great time with this Pokemon. And it actually worked out way better than I expected. So yeah, honestly, it is definitely a cool Pokemon to use right now. It is definitely also something that I actually would kind of recommend. I don't know, like, okay, I wouldn't really recommend it to build this Pokemon. Of course, it's very spicy, but it's a lot of fun. Like, it's better than like some of the other Pokemon that I built for spice and tried out. For example, it's better than a Katana or also Tapu Bulu, which is also something that I either already showcased or will showcase eventually. I think we'll showcase eventually. The video is already done, but going to come onto my channel then eventually, most likely. Here we're going to see a fully XL Meloetta, but it doesn't really matter as you can Dazzling Gleam them away. In comes a Rayquaza and the opponent going to forfeit. So far, so great. Horrible lead for us. We're going to swap out into our Dialga here. Dialga Say-Sob is going to be very decent for this team here as well. We have a ton of frame drops still. You see it especially here as well already. I saw it there several times. Of course, again, it doesn't really look like that crazy when you have double speed, which my videos are always like on double speed. But still, like, right now the game is not really enjoyable for me, at least, to play in terms of Go Battle League and in terms of the lag that is currently occurring. But yeah, we have to deal with it here. We're going to see the Dialga against us. We're going to be able to go ahead and go into our Groudon, and we try to swap out onto the charge move into our Tapu Koko. In comes the Draco Meteor though, which is going to be okay for us. We will be able to get at least some damage there, and we're going to go ahead, go into our Tapu Koko against the opponent. This was a little bit too fast. I think it's just a Brave Bird. We will be able to survive it, and in comes a Zekrom, allowing us to go for one Dazzling Gleam here, and one Dazzling Gleam would be able to knock out the opponent. But turns out that we're going to be able to now go ahead and let them farm us all the way down. We will go up with our Groudon here. Groudon going to take this Outrage coming in, and we will be able to go for one Precipice Blades here as well, which is going to knock out the opponent. And in comes now the Ho-Oh. We will be able to outspeed them, and we will be able to still take those Incinerates just enough so we can go ahead and go for one Precipice Blades and knock them out as well. But yeah, very, very nice so far. Had a lot of fun playing this team in general. But yeah, I did 20 battles total, so I think it's around 10 battles in the video itself. So if someone is in there, like if someone didn't get in there, it's like always like the thing that I see sometimes in the comment section where like people complain, oh, my battle is not in there. Just happens. Like I cannot show, like I could showcase all 20 battles if I want to, but then we would have like a 30+ minute video. Maybe I actually do this like one day, that just gonna go ahead and go for like a 30+ minute video for a team if I had just a fun team or whatever, I don't know. But yeah, usually I try to keep it around 15 minutes. Here, my opponent completely wrecks me. Like you see here, they completely call anything that I really do with my Groudon, which was really wild. They completely bait me twice with Fire Punch, and now I don't really have an answer for Groudon anymore. And they're going to be able to still get to another charge move before I can farm them down here. Going to knock me out here, and of course Tapu Koko cannot do anything. So I literally just lost to the first Pokemon of my opponent, which is kind of embarrassing, but hey, we're just going to keep those losses in here as well. In comes now the Groudon with the Melmetal. Superpower comes in, going to see a Rayquaza coming in, allowing us to go into a Tapu Koko. Well, this looks like a very decent matchup for us. Ancient Power did way more than I expected, honestly. This did like more than 50%. This is like a neutral move. yeah, of course, Tapu Koko is not the bulkiest Pokemon in the world, for sure. It's a very squishy boy, but at least we're going to be able to go ahead and go for another Thunderbolt here. Going to be able to get the final shield of the opponent or the knockout against the opponent, and we're going to get the final shield. As they're going to go for their own breaking swipe, I don't really trust myself to get to another charge move, so I'm going to go ahead and go for the shield advantage instead. Going to be able to go into my Dialga, getting some extra energy as well. MEWeedle comes in, we can snipe them with the Pressure's Blade, and we can say goodbye to the opponent here as well, as they're going to be so far down. We're going to see now the Dragonite coming in, which actually can be a little bit scary because they're going to get a ton of energy, definitely enough energy to get to 2 superpowers against my Dialga. But we still have a shield left. We have a ton of energy already, not quite enough to get to 1 Iron Head yet. But now we have an Iron Head stored, and this will be enough for us to win this game. We can just safely shield the first move and can go for the Iron Head now, win the CMP if they would even went for the CMP, which I didn't do there. And we will be able to win this game. Next opponent, let's take a look at this one. We see a Groudon again in the lead. This is not really ideal. Don't know why I see so many Groudon all of a sudden. I haven't really seen Groudon too often recently, so kind of surprised about this one, but we're going to be able to go ahead and go for 1 Pressure's Blade. It's going to do a ton of damage, and they're going to go for 1 Fire Punch. So basically, like the matchup against Groudon prior that we had, where we completely got baited and called out the entire time. Here we will be able to win this matchup pretty easily with Fire Punch as well. Going to have still a lot of energy and health on my Pokemon as well, as I can swap out now against this opponent's Rayquaza into my Dialga. They're gonna go ahead and go into a Zacian, forcing me to shield up this move because I go straight for the close combat here, as I can go ahead and go for my own Iron Head. I have to try to get to my next Iron Head in time as well, but I'm just 1 fast move off, and the opponent going to take advantage of this. Going to go ahead, go for the close combat, going to knock me out here. And I'm forced to go into my Groudon. Gonna go for the bait first because I don't think that the opponent has that much energy left. And I will try to go for the Pressure's Blade here right now, but I'm missing it out on a 1 turn. And this is going to be so bad for us. It's now the opponent going to have, yeah, still the Rayquaza here. It's not going to be looking too good for us. They're gonna go ahead and go for the breaking swipe. I have to overfarm by quite a decent amount. And now I'm gonna go ahead, go for the Thunderbolt. Going to be able to knock out the opponent as well here. And we will see now the opponent's Zacian coming in right now, where we can go for 1 Thunderbolt. Is this enough? We're debuffed. We're debuffed from the breaking swipe, but it's still enough to knock them out and win this game with Tapu Koko. Next opponent, we're going to see MEWeedle in the lead. Not ideal whatsoever. I really don't like this Pokemon in general for this team, of course, but at least they're going to be able to go for the Fire Punches here with our Groudon. Groudon will do some decent damage against the opponent, but also you see already how our health declines as well, just because of the Powder Snow being super effective. We're still going to be able to outspeed them usually and go for Fire Punches in order to get the shield from the opponent. I wanted to swap out there, didn't work out, but we're going to see now the Avalanche coming in again. I can go ahead and go for another Fire Punch, but the opponent going to decide to swap perfectly into the Giratina here, which is really bad for us, as we're going to have to go now for 1 Pressure's Blade, trying to get the shield from the opponent or the near knockout for them. And we're going to get the shield, allowing us to go into our Dialga, but we have to try to somehow get to the Iron Head before they can go for another Shadow Ball, because the next Shadow Ball should knock us out. Turns out we literally just get there at the same time as my opponent, but we win CMP, allowing us to win this matchup here. Let's see what's coming in. Most likely the Mammal Swine. Let's take a look at this. It's going to be actually the Dialga, and this is not really looking too good for us here right now. We can go ahead and go into our Groudon, but we're going to go first into our Tapu Koko though, because they have, of course, the Mammal Swine still stored in the bag. And I was like, yeah, okay, I kind of have to go ahead and get some more damage onto them. I'm going to store the Dazzling Gleam, but sadly they're going to snipe me here with the Mammal Spine. A very smart play. Didn't know that they have that much energy. Like this, I can go for 1 Thunderbolt to knock them out, but I don't have the health. I don't have the health left. They're going to be able to go for 1 charge move here, and this is going to be able to, of course, knock me out here and win them the game. So good game there. Next opponent, we're going to encounter Dialga. Dialga going to be also very interesting for us, as this is going to be usually a very decent lead here for us. Sometimes I bait. This time around I just go straight for the Pressure's Blade. Let's see what the opponent is going to do. They're going to let this move go through, and we can say goodbye to the opponent as well, as they decide to just, go and just going to leave it here. We're going to see a Mewtwo in the lead. I don't like Mewtwo for this team because it's a little bit tricky to deal with. Yeah, try to catch the Side Strike. Let's see how it works. It worked out so well that we actually caught a Shadow Ball instead. As you're going to see now the Dialga coming in, I can go for an Iron Head. This is the only thing that I can go for. It is going to do some pretty decent damage, but I'm not going to do enough here, as we're going to see the opponent going straight for the charge move. I'm going to shield up the charge move from the opponent. Going to be the Iron Head, and I can overfarm by a significant amount. Going to be able to go for the Fire Punch now instead of the Precious Blade, as it's going to be already enough to knock them out. In comes most likely the Mewtwo. We have both, all shields still left. I can go for the bait here first. And they're going to shield this move up, which is very good for us, as they're going to go now straight for the Precious Blade, hoping that the opponent doesn't realize that this is already at there, but no, they realize that now. And I can just go ahead and shield up all the moves that the opponent wants to go for. Because my plan here is just to finish up the opponent with a Precious Blade, but I hope that there's something in the back that we can deal with our good old Tapu Koko, but we will find out shortly. Let's see what we can do here. We're going to be able to nuke them, and we're going to see a Zekrom. Zekrom has access to the moves, a Wild Charge, Fusion Bolt, Crunch, Outrage. All of them are resisted, so they don't really have an out here, and we have an out with our super effective Dazzling Gleam, saying goodbye to the opponent here. Next opponent, we're going to see Zacian in the lead. This is going to be an interesting one as well, as we're going to be able to go ahead and go for the Precious Blade here. This is going to be also okay for us, as this is going to get the shield from the opponent. In comes now most likely a close combat or something. It's going to be a play rough, where we can slow shield up as well. I don't really want to get my Groudon too low, as they're going to try to swap into the Lugia. And nope, Lugia is not a safe swap for our team, as we have the best possible answer for them. Tapu Koko gonna be able to go for the Thunderbolt, and we can just farm them all the way down at this point of time. Let's take a look at this one. You can go for the Aero Blast. We will be able to still survive that. We're gonna get out of this matchup with a ton of energy. In comes from the opponent now. Let's see, the Zacian again. They have to take those moves. I'm gonna go for the Thunderbolt first. I know that that's not going to knock them out, but I try to go for another one. Try to force the opponent to throw a charge move here as well, which works out really, really well for us. They're gonna go ahead and go for the play rough. In comes the Ho-Oh, and of course we're going to have our Dialga to counter the opponent here. Let's see what they're going to do here. If they're going to go ahead and go for the Brave Bird, if they're going to go ahead and go for the Sacred Fire, they're going to go for the Brave Bird. Very rarely seen move, which is really good for us. We're going to be able to go for another charge move against the opponent. Going to be able to nearly knock them out, now farm them down here. And we have now the matchup that we want to have here, as you can go for an Iron Head in this basically game for the opponent. Very good game there. Next opponent, one legendary bro. Let's see what they're going to have here. We're going to see a Zacian in the lead. Going to be fine for us, of course. Our lead is kind of neutral against them, as we can go for an Precious Blade here, doing some decent damage against them, but they're going to shield up this move instead, which is interesting. They don't have to, but of course it's going to allow us then other ways afterwards that we can just go ahead and go for the Fire Punches. Like this, it is a little bit trickier for us, as you're going to see the opponent go for another close combat. I feel like they're going to have Wild Charge as a secondary charge move, which would be completely walled by our Tapu Koko, but we will never find out, as the opponent going to get down here by one of our charge moves here. In comes Mewtwo. We will be able to take the charge move here, as they go straight for the Side Strike. There was not even enough energy for a Shadow Ball, but they're gonna go into their Dialga here right now. I can go for one Draco Meteor. This should be able to force a shield or the knockout against the opponent. We're gonna force a shield here, and we can go back into our Groudon here trying to win this game. Let's see what we can do here. We're going to be able to now shield up the charge move from the opponent. Going to be an Iron Head for sure, as they can try to go for a Precious Blade. We just barely reach there in time. They have definitely more energy stored already, but it doesn't really matter, as you can knock them out here. In comes the Mewtwo. Can we survive on charge move from the Mewtwo though? This is the question. That is the question. Are we going to be able to win the game or not? And we just barely survived that. You see how squishy we actually are. A Shadow variant would have one-shot us here, which is kind of wild. But like this, we're going to be able to win this game. And we can go into the final game for today's video, as they're going to encounter Dialga against us. And now we're going to see the Mewtwo coming in. Not really ideal for us. I'm going to shield up the charge move here, because I know how difficult it is to deal with Side Strike. And I can go ahead and go for some bait moves here as well with my Fire Punch. Let's see, they're going to fall for it as well, as I can try to catch a move onto my Dialga, which of course, as you can see here, worked out so well. Crazy, never mind. And they're even going to bait me here, like how could they? But I don't really feel that this is already the Focus Blast, so let's see, it's going to be a Shadow Ball, which is very nice for us. Else I can go ahead and go for another charge move here. Iron Head is coming through. We will be able to go ahead and go for the near full farm down. Didn't work out quite yet, but we will see now the Side Strike coming through. Allows me to go into my Tapu Koko, farm down, get some energy, and I can swap out now into my Groudon if I want to, but I'm sadly just one away. In comes now the Kyogre, and this is kind of game. Like, there's not a lot that I can do here about this one. Kyogre going to have a great matchup against us, but we're still going to be able to go for another charge move here for whatever reason, allowing us to knock out the opponent. And now it's all down to Tapu Koko against the opponent's Dialga. I tried to go for one Fire Punch to chip them into range where I can knock them out with one Dazzling Gleam, but it didn't work out for us, as they can go ahead and go for another charge move here. It's going to be the Dazzling Gleam, going to do some decent damage, and can we still win this game? Depends if we can still survive this Iron Head coming through, and we can, allowing us to go for the Thunderbolt and win us this game here. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like on it. I would really appreciate it, as you're going to see here as well. Me claiming the final set, as said before, I actually went 4-1 at like 3,300 rating with it, as you're going to see here as well now. Climbing up here. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.